Hey there, everybody. Today we're going to be going over our lesson for the Revolutionary War. A revolution is coming. If you all look at your screens to view party, we'll go into our first one here. Now, everyone has their own version of history. Everyone has their own story. But right now, I want you to pay attention and watch my favorite version of the American Revolution.
From the people who claim 300 is a true story comes the tale of our nation's birth. General Washington, the Redcoats outnumber us 1,000,000 to 12. Fear not, American, for tonight we dine in Virginia! King George would like to speak with you. This is a British colony! British? This is America! Handcuff now! Yeah! 1776. It ain't accurate, but it'll blow your f***ing mind.
All right, so now that we have seen the most accurate version probably you'll ever see, there's a lot to be excited about. Many of us have questions. Many of us maybe know some things about the Revolutionary War. Some of us don't. But right now, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you guys to fill out a Post-it note. If you'll notice, there are Post-it notes on your desk. Okay. If you don't have one, come see me or ask the student next to you. Grab a Post-it note. And I'd like you to write down at least 2 to 3 things that you already know or that you think you already know about the Revolutionary War. If you want to speak with your neighbor on this, go ahead. Right now, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. You guys have about 15 seconds. And time. Perfect. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is go ahead and whatever you have written down, go ahead and put it on the piece of paper that you see on the whiteboard, okay, labeled, "What do you already know about the Revolutionary War?" For those of you that aren't, finish up your final thoughts. Okay, now let's go on to questions maybe we don't know. So here's what I'd like us to do. Go ahead and hand up, pair up, share up with a partner next to you about what are some questions that you have about the Revolutionary War, what would you like to know about the Revolutionary War, and after you have 2 or 3 of them, go ahead, get those sticky notes again, write them out, and then put them on the other side of the sheet of paper labeled, "What do I want to know?" And once again, I'm going to give you guys about a minute to 2 minutes to go ahead and hand up, pair up, share up, and then write those sticky notes down. So one of the things we have to look forward to here now is, what is the big idea? What is the Revolutionary War all about? What does this mean? Well, each of us may have our own ideas, but a big idea here is that democracy requires sacrifice. So on a sheet of paper or a Post-it note, I want you to write down, what do you think this means to you? Once you have that written down, go ahead and share with a partner. I'm going to give you guys each 30 seconds within your groups.
It's 2 o'clock.
Once that is done, please give me a thumbs up and let me know that you guys have completed this assignment. So let's think, why is this important? How can this be relatable to us today when it happened 200 years ago? Well, if you look over here to the left, we see a bunch of different countries. We have the United States, Mexico, Greece, Rome, Bolivia, and so on. Why are these names there? Why does this even matter for us today? Well, the fact of the matter is that democracy, the fight for freedom, that still goes on today in our world. Maybe not in the United States, but all throughout the world this is happening, and it's important to understand why this is relatable. So here's what I'd like you guys to do. Turn to your shoulder partner. Go ahead and think of 1 to 2 things that you think people throughout the world today need to fight for, or was important to them. What are we going to know throughout this entire thing? Well, by the end of this, we're going to understand why the Revolutionary War happened. We're going to understand the key players involved throughout the war, how the colonies and people changed as a result of the war. We're going to look over the many different music and art forms from this time period and involved with you guys actually making your own music and art pieces as well, which you will be able to observe and have parents come view. And we're also going to look at the different styles of leadership between George versus George, King George and George Washington, how they were different and how they were the same. And I think we're all going to be surprised as to see, were they more different or were they more similar? And finally, Common Core standards that we will be going over. We're going to understand how political, religious, and economic ideas and interests brought about the revolution, and go over the different acts that were involved during that time period, such as the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, leading all the way to the Boston Tea Party. We're going to be going over, as I mentioned before, the different musical and art pieces of that time. You will be able to understand why it was important and how it was used during the war, and then create your own pieces as well. Finally, ending up with a living wax museum project, which is where you will be able to choose one character from history, learn about them, write a short essay about that person, and then create a costume based on that person. As parents come and view, you will be able to give exact facts on that person and what they went through. Some big things to look forward to here. We have our museum walk, which will be a lot of fun. We're going to post pictures all throughout the classroom and the school as well. Different art pieces and battles, events from that time period. Students will be able to walk through, ask questions, take notes on it. Our Listen to the Beat assignment, again, they'll be able to listen to different songs from that time period and create their own. No taxation without representation. We're going to incorporate some of our math lessons with this and find out just how decimals and taxation are used within this as well. We are going to finally take a trip to Riley's farm and enjoy a reenactment of the Revolutionary War during that time period, and that'll be a lot of fun as well. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Other than that, thank you very much, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.